talking to our first music guest who's earned 4 nominations at the 2016 Crown Gospel Awards and describes his music style as a cross-cultural contemporary flair of Christian music that fuses elements from pure gospel, jazz, rock and reggae. That's worship leader, producer, composer, singer-songwriter Collen Maluleke, who has released his second CD or DVD titled Grateful Alive. Maluleke now joins us in studio to talk about his latest project as well as his journey as a gospel artist. Collen, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Collen, I want to take it way back to where it all began.
Yeah.
Talk to us about where your love for music started and how that was ignited.
Yeah, well, it basically began, I think, when I was around 16, just singing in the church choir, you know, as a worship leader at my church, youth leader as well. Started singing in the praise and worship team, and you know, would preach at church. I wasn't really much of a very confident singer back then. It was just a matter of doing it while we're preaching or with the choir, you know, hiding at the back. And then 2010, that's when I started pursuing it, you know, with some form of focus or purpose to say, you know, this is what I want to do as a career. So I started pursuing that and working with a couple of guys, you know, local bands from Soweto where I grew up. And in 2015, I recorded the first album titled Open Heavens. That's the one that was nominated 4 times at the Crown Gospel Awards.
We'll talk about that a little later. But now, I mean, gospel is the most popular genre in South Africa, which automatically makes it one of the most competitive ones.
Yeah.
Why go into gospel? Was the influence from church behind, you know, you eventually venturing into it? Because what's interesting is that in your music, you fuse you know, a number of different other styles. Why stick to gospel?
Well, basically, I think that's my calling. That's it's either gospel or nothing, because I preach the word of God through music. So it's basically just leading people into worship, into the presence of God. So I always say this, that gospel, I didn't choose gospel, but God chose gospel for me. That's just part of who I am. And it's very easy for me to do. I can't do any other style of music. So that's all I can do, you know. It's a calling from God. It's something I do with ease. It's part of my purpose, part of who I am. And I just love connecting people with the creator of the universe.
All right. And then you released, I mean, your first body of work, which you touched on just now. And then you get these 4 nominations. I mean, the Crown Gospel Awards are quite a big deal. What do you think is it about your music that is perhaps a cut above the rest? Or what is it about Collen and what you are able to do through your music that really makes you stand out?
Okay. Well, basically, you know, I try not to be just another local artist. But instead we try to take our music across the world. You know, hence, like, you know, we live in a pop culture society. So my music is also influenced by a lot of pop culture as well, trying to be relevant to the young people, also finding a balance between the older generation and the young generation, you know. So one of the things I think that really sets me apart is my ability to also compose music and write my own original songs, you know, and because most of the songs that were, actually all the songs that were nominated were original songs that I did.
And that's quite a rarity, you know, you often hear just, you know, artists remaking songs that already
Well,
exist.
if God could speak 1,000 years ago and give people hymns, I'm sure he can still do it today. He can still give us hymns that are relevant to our generation as well. Not to say that they're not relevant, but I'm just saying that, you know, God is always speaking, you know, and culture is always evolving, and we need to keep up with that. You know, we need to be consistent with what God is saying to our generation and come up with music that is that actually addresses our generation, you know, because a lot of us are influenced by social media, you know, a whole lot of stuff is happening around us. So, and God is speaking in the midst of all those things. God is still talking. So you'll get a song that says, "Shine, Jesus, shine." Why? Because we have idolized artists and pastors and all that. And the focus is no longer on God, but it's now on people. you know. So, and people go to people for solutions, while God is the ultimate solution. So now I wrote a song called Shine, Jesus, Shine, just to say we need to turn away from all these gimmicks that we're doing and then just put the spotlight on God one more time, because He is the only one that has the solution for our lives.
I absolutely love that. Very quickly, let's talk about Grateful Live. That's your most recent project. Who did you work with? How many tracks are there? Shooting any videos?
Well, it was basically recorded live at House of Treasures in our church in Joburg South, right here in Johannesburg. We recorded it in April. And it was released on the 5th of October. So it's available in stores. You know, the amazing thing is with Open Heavens, we got nominated even though the album was not even in stores. So a lot of people could not even reach it. But, you know, God made that happen. So Grateful is available in stores. I worked with a couple of my friends as well on there, Ngobi from Joyous, Bongani Nkosi as well in the production team. So, but I didn't do a lot of features because it was like the title, it's Grateful. So it was about my personal experiences with God and what I'm grateful for, you know. So I only featured Ngobi Ngumalo on the song, a song called Good God. Amazing, amazing album. So it's got 12 tracks. It's available on all the online platforms, in all the stores, your Books and all that. So it's just an album about praise and worship and thanksgiving to God, basically.
Collen Maluleke, thank you so much, and all the best in your beautiful journey.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on the show. That's Christian music artist, worship leader, producer, composer, singer-songwriter Collen Maluleke, who was speaking to us about his new album, Grateful Live. Stay tuned to Morning Live to hear music from this talented artist who really fuses a completely different element to, you know, the traditional gospel music. Stay with us.